Juggernuts, how we doing? And welcome back to another episode of SeddzSayz. We are back today with another video in our 2020 recap series, in which we're going to be discussing our top albums of the year, top EPs of the year. We did our top singles of 2020 the other day, and today we are going to be telling you guys what our top 5 live streams of 2020 have been. Honestly, 2020 has been such a really weird year for the music industry. Bands and record labels and anyone out there who works in this industry has had to adapt so that the fans can get their fix on live shows and live events. And because of this, we've seen a lot of bands taking to platforms such as Twitch and incorporating live streams into their 2020 program in order to get content out there to the fans in a year that has been pretty desolate, to be honest. It has absolutely decimated the live industry. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that will recover in 2021 now that this COVID vaccine is out there. Because I'll tell you what, I cannot wait to get back to a live show. I have so many tickets piling up on my little notice board over there from bands that I should have seen this year. So I cannot wait for those shows to be rescheduled in 2021. Anyway, we're going to be doing our top 5 live streams this year, and just a couple of ground rules like we did with our top 5 singles of the year the other day. First things first, we can only pick one live stream per band/artist. Now, a lot of bands have released multiple live streams throughout the year, and a lot of them have been fucking amazing. There are a couple of bands who made it onto my list who've released multiple of these events this year that people can watch online, and it was a case of sitting down and being like, right, which one out of the ones that they released was indeed the best. So yeah, only one live stream per act and artist. And the only other rule is, as well as live streams, we're also going to incorporate live albums into this as well. Now, there are a lot of bands who kind of recorded live albums back in like 2018 and 2019, but they've only really kind of seen the light of day in 2020, given what's gone on this year with obviously COVID-19 and the state of the industry as a whole. So we're going to include them in there as well, because there have been some wicked live albums that have dropped this year that I've collected for my CD collection. So we're going to mix them in there with the live stream categories as well. So without further ado, this is SeddzSayz top 5 live streams and live albums of 2020. Let's do this. So then, in at our number 5 position in our top 5 live streams and live albums of 2020, we're going to be checking out a track from Puscifer's latest stream, which was called Existential Reckoning, live at Arco Santi. Now, 2020 has been the year that I have literally fallen in love with Puscifer. I'm a huge Tool fan, I'm a huge fan of A Perfect Circle, but before 2020, I'd probably only listened to 1 or 2 tracks from Maynard James Keenan's side project Puscifer. Obviously, they dropped their brand new album this year, which was called Existential Reckoning, which I absolutely love. It's got a very cool conspiracy alien Area 51 theme throughout the album, so that just instantly made me fall in love with it. In all honesty, it's probably my favourite of Puscifer's albums. I'm actually currently waiting on my copy to arrive. For some reason, Puscifer albums are like gold dust to get hold of. So I remember having it in my Amazon wishlist basket one day, and then the next day it had just sold out like that. So I've literally had to order like a second-hand copy from Switzerland off someone on eBay, and apparently it's only going to arrive in February, my physical edition, so I cannot wait to get my hands on that. So anyway, we're going to be checking out a track called Fake Affront, which was from this live stream, and is indeed from their latest album, Existential Reckoning. It's just such a cool live stream. What I loved about this one was not only how the hauntingly beautiful music is matched with the really cool setting that they have in this video, but I just thought it created such an eerie atmosphere, and you'll know exactly what I mean when you watch it. It looks like it's set out in the middle of the desert. Obviously, I have no idea where Arco Santi is. I'm terrible at geography. But what they did with this one looks really cool. It looks like a UFO landing site if someone had filmed it. Like one of those kind of like Armageddon movies, like when the spaceship lands and its first contact. It looks absolutely mint. So we're going to check it out now, and hopefully you enjoy it as much as I do. This is Puscifer with their track Fake Affront, from Live Existential Reckoning, live in Arco Santi. It's just such a really, really cool structure that they built out in the desert, and it matches the theme and concept of this album perfectly. Not to mention, this is a belter of a song. It's actually probably one of my favourite Puscifer songs. I love the whole like Men in Black chic that they've gone for this this video, and not just the video actually. Like this imagery runs throughout their entire promo campaign for the album. So I do like it when everything's kind of conjoined together and has like running imagery and themes throughout it. They're one of those bands as well, Puscifer, where they very rarely come over to the UK. They're more of a kind of band that you'd see at a festival and on a festival lineup. So for them to release a live stream like this, it was a big deal. It really, really was. I've got a few friends who are massive fans of this band, and it was just nice to have such a huge Puscifer spectacle that we could all enjoy, seeing as they've not been to the UK in years now. You'll see as well when I post my top 20 albums of 2020. 2020 has been kind of my year where I've got really into like weird, trippy, experimental, atmospheric music, and I've listened to a lot of Puscifer in 2020. In fact, their song The Remedy, I go to sleep listening to that every night, and it just sends me off like that. I think as well in 2020 a lot of bands were doing these live streams and kind of just doing them from the studio. So I kind of like that bands like Puscifer and some other bands on this list kind of just went all out with these live streams. We're just kind of like, fuck it, let's get like a massive set piece, let's get like loads of cool backdrops with moving imagery, let's get these huge like lights and make it kind of like an arena spectacle and that people can enjoy from the comfort of their homes. I certainly appreciated it as a fan of live music. Right then, there you have it. That was Puscifer with Fake a Front. And as I said, it is taken from the live stream Existential Reckoning live at Arco Santi. And that is in at my number 5 top live streams and live albums of 2020. It was, for me as a fan of the band, it was great to have a live stream from Puscifer in 2020 because I've never had the opportunity to see them live as of yet. I don't think I'll have the opportunity to see them live for a while. In all honesty, I've not seen Tool Perfect Circle live yet, but to just get such a just a really cool... Do you know what? It made me feel like it was at a concert, and especially from this band. They're all about the imagery, they're all about the concept, they're all about painting a story with their music and what they do, and I think they did that perfectly with this live stream, especially, like I said, when the concept for the album is like aliens and Area 51. Shooting a video like that in the middle of the desert with all those like blurring lights and those cool backdrops with all like the weird UFO imagery on there, it looked really effective. And I remember watching that sat at home and just being like, wow, this is just something else, man. I was like sat there with me brew, just chilled out to fuck, and it was like the best hour and a half ever, just having a nice relaxing evening checking out the Puscifer live stream. So that is why it is there at my number 5 spot for 2020. Okie dokie macaroni. That doesn't even rhyme. But we are into our number 4 position for our top live streams and live albums of 2020. And this one is actually a live album, not a live stream. This was recorded back in 2019 and saw a digital release this year in around about July time, I believe it was. Honestly, I absolutely love this live album. The only fault I have with it is that it never saw a physical release. Like, you guys know me, I've got a massive CD collection, thousands and thousands of CDs, and when I found out this was not getting a physical release, I was absolutely gutted, because I'm a huge fan of this band. I love their last album that was released August 2019, and I own all of their stuff as it is, so to be told that I wasn't going to get a CD of this live record was... It felt like betrayal, to be honest. I felt like I had just had my heart ripped out. I was absolutely gutted. But, of course, I am talking about the live album, Live at the Roundhouse, by Australian technical metalcore / progressive metalcore band Northlane. Wow. Right, so what to say about Northlane? I've been into these guys now since... probably about college. I remember seeing them on the Never Say Die tour, and I had a friend who I was in a band with at the time who absolutely raved about them, and he got me to listen to their album Singularity, which I did really, really enjoy. And we went to see him on the Never Say Die tour, where they were playing with, I can't remember the full lineup now off the top of my head. I know Amure played on that lineup, and in all honesty, Northlane were one of the best acts that evening. They got a new singer in 2015, and it's from then that I really started to dig these guys. Their past 3 albums, which are Node, Mesmer, and the latest one, Alien, are, in my opinion, the 3 strongest albums in their back catalogue. And I really like the route that they went down with the latest released Alien, like I said, which came out in 2019. Now, I do believe that this live show was recorded on the Alien album cycle. And they've just been kind of holding on to it, and in 2020 it was like, right, now is the perfect time to drop this release. And I just think they're a band that translates so well live. I mean, they're wicked on record, but live they are something else. And I think for me to pick this one, it wasn't to do with kind of like the live spectacle and putting on like a huge like arena ready show. It was just how good these tracks translated to a live album. And I've always wanted a live record from Northlane just to capture how amazing they are when you see them in a live atmosphere. So we're going to check out their live rendition of Bloodline, which was taken from, like I said, Live at the Roundhouse, and hopefully, fingers crossed, if you haven't heard of these guys before, I mean, to be honest, they're one of the biggest bands in Australia and probably one of the biggest bands in technical / progressive metal at the minute. So if you've not heard of them, you're a fucking weirdo. But if you've not heard of them, I really, really hope you enjoy this, and hopefully it'll make you go and check out some of their albums, and when gigs start back up again, it'll make you buy a ticket for one of their live shows, because, like I said, they're great on album, they are something else live. So yeah, enjoy Bloodline, Live at the Roundhouse by the band Northlane.
I want to hear you sing this one. This one's called Bloodline. Let's go.
The thing I loved about the album Alien was that it kind of took a step away from the technical metalcore direction and kind of went more alternative and experimental. There were elements of kind of new metal in there as well. He had a bit of a Jonathan Davis twang to his voice, which I really, really enjoyed. Especially as well, the electronic elements in their music kind of took a massive step up, and I'm a massive fan of industrial and EDM and metal music. So for me, this is hands down my favourite Northlane album, and it translates even better live. Oh, here we go. Yes! Another thing that I loved about this live album was they do it so well on record with the samples cutting beautifully through the mix. But on this live album, as you can hear now in the background, the samples are just so audible, and sometimes when you're at a live show, I don't think they cut through well enough, and it just kind of gives you every intricate detail of their music, which I absolutely love. It was kind of, for me as well, kind of a bit of a nostalgic thing. Like, hearing this live album really made me miss live shows, because Northlane are probably one of the best live bands that I've ever seen, and to be given a live album in 2020 from these guys, it kind of brought a tear to my eye a bit, kind of being like what we're missing out on in 2020 due to COVID. But this is going to sound cheesy as fuck. If you want an album that's going to kind of give you hope for the future, that live shows are going to return, and to kind of tide you over until then, this is definitely an album you need to check out. It's just mixed so perfectly. Oh, absolutely amazing. Really cool. That was Bloodline by the band Northlane, taken from their 2020 live album, Live at the Roundhouse. And yeah, just like I said, it's a live album, not a live stream, that was recorded back in 2019. But it is an album that really did make me miss going to a concert. Seeing the footage online, it's beautifully shot, and it sounds incredible through the cans. I've had this through the headphones, I've had this through the hi-fi system, I've had this through my speakers on my computer, and on all three sets of speakers, it just sounds huge. It gives you that whole kind of 360 gig experience from the comfort of your home. And I'd probably say it's one of the best live albums of the past 5 years. I'll certainly spin in it for a while to come. And it makes me hella excited for new Northlane album, and for those guys to return to the live circuit from 2021. So yeah, in at number 4, that was Northlane with Live at the Roundhouse. Go and check it out, guys. Rightio then, folks, we are at the number 3 position for our top live streams and live albums of 2020. And this one was a no-brainer, really. It was a band whose album that they released earlier this year, called City Burials, actually made it into my top 10 albums of the year. And when I found out that they were going to be doing a live stream and a live album at the end of 2020, it got me even more excited for this band this year, and it just made me fall in love with them all over again. I've probably been a fan of Katatonia for about 3 to 4 years now, and I was a bit gutted a couple of years back when they announced that they were going on a bit of hiatus. So to find out that they were releasing not only an album, but a live album / live stream this year, I was like, yes! I was so excited to hear both of these. Now, the album is incredible. Now, I was saying before on the Puscifer live stream that 2020 has been kind of my year where I've been getting into a lot more ambient and atmospheric kind of stuff. Katatonia proper scratch that itch for me. They really do. And the more melodic tracks on their new album, City Burials, tracks like Vanishers and Lacquer, which we're going to be checking out in just a second, they are some of the best melodic and melancholic tracks that 2020 has produced. Now, with the live stream and the live album, which is called Dead Air, the band kind of wanted to do something a lot more stripped back. They saw a lot of bands doing these huge live spectacles, obviously like we featured earlier, bands like Puscifer, Behemoth did a huge one, Trivium have done a massive one. Obviously Katatonia were like, you know what, let's just take it back to the rehearsal room and let's just give the fans an intimate experience and kind of like a sneak peek of what Katatonia get up to behind the scenes. And you know what? It worked really, really well for this band. Usually I prefer a massive, big, arena-ready spectacle with loads of lights and moving pictures and stuff. I just like feeling stimulated. I'm just a massive child, really. But I sat down and watched this live stream, and I've got the CD and DVD, and I've watched and listened to it since. And I was like, this was the best thing for this band to do. Especially with the songs that they released on City Burials and some of the older stuff that they do throughout this set list. Just kind of taking it back to basics and just kind of making it the band and the listener in that kind of intimate environment was just, yeah, it was the perfect decision. And you'll see exactly what we mean when we jump straight into this video. So we're going to be checking out, like I said, Lacquer. It is the song taken from City Burials, but this is the live rendition that they recorded from Dead Air. Enjoy, guys. Now, if you like what you see and hear on this song, I think someone has actually uploaded the full concert to YouTube. Such a beautiful, oh, just a haunting voice. I love it. The house we lived in, stricken with blight. They're a band who are no stranger to a live album, Katatonia. They have loads of live albums under their belts, and all of them are really, really fucking good. However, Dead Air has to be my favourite out of their back catalogue. There's just something about it, maybe, like I said, maybe it is the intimacy of the performance that just proper resonated with me. But I've watched this live DVD and live stream probably about 5 or 6 times since it was released, and it's not been out on physical copy for that long. I think only since November. But yeah, I absolutely love it. Try the poise to radiate. Because it's so stripped back, it gives those very subtle ambient noises and those very subtle samples their time to shine. Obviously you can hear them in the mix on the album, but I just think with this live version of it, every little detail is audible, and it's just really nice to hear how intricate the song actually is. Fixing to die and scrape the lacquer. I've got to be careful because, in all honesty, if I close my eyes, it might make me drift off. It's one of those tracks that, like I was saying with Puscifer, I'll listen to this album before I go to bed because it just mellows me out, it relaxes me, and it puts me in a dream state. It honestly does. I can live to fight once more. The road to the grave is straight as an arrow. I'm staying around to sing a song. Baby, the road to the grave is straight as an arrow. I'm staying around to sing a song. It's great. There's no huge production, no huge gimmicks. It just lets the songs speak for themselves, and by God, in a live atmosphere, these new tracks from City Burials sound incredible live. I really kind of hope that they don't go back on hiatus after this. I would love to go to a Katatonia live show and witness this track and tracks like Vanishes and the other tracks on City Burials in a live atmosphere. It's proper whetted my appetite, this live stream has. Made me hungry for more, definitely.
I can live to fight once more. Let it breaking. I can live to fight once more. Not to the greatest strength.
He really does like pour his heart and soul into like every word he sings. It's actually probably a track that translates better live than it does on record. It really is. It really, really is. Woo! Oh, yes. Katatonia with their track Lacquer, which is taken from the live stream and live album / DVD Dead Air. That was recorded at Studio Gröndal, which is in Stockholm, Sweden. And I think they just did such an excellent job with it, doing something very different to a lot of other acts and just, like I said, taking it back to basics, keeping it very simple, and just letting the fans enjoy these new tracks in a live setting. Obviously, bands aren't getting to tour albums nowadays. Obviously, Katatonia won't get to tour City Burials probably till around fall 2021. So it was great to see a live stream and a live album from these guys. The album is phenomenal. If you've not heard City Burials yet, stop what you're doing right now. Just stop this video and go and buy a copy from your local like HMV or your local music store. It's just perfect from start to finish. And in all honesty, it was great that they released this live stream and we got to hear how they sound live. Because in all honesty, it's probably some of the strongest Katatonia material that they've released so far. And I really, really, really hope that we'll get the opportunity to see Katatonia live in 2021. If not, I'll just get to watch this live album about another 20 to 30 times and that'll just keep me happy. In at number 2 for our top 5 live streams and live albums of 2020, we have a band who are probably on the far opposite side of the spectrum to what you just heard there previously with the band Katatonia. This is a band who are just the living embodiment of aggression, and their new album, which dropped earlier this year called Underneath, is one of the most abrasive, just darn right violent albums you will ever hear. I'm talking of motherfucking Code Orange. What a band. Now, my history with Code Orange probably goes back a couple of years ago when I was working out in America. I was looking for live shows to go to whilst I was travelling the East Coast. I had to do my geography then. Travelling the East Coast, and Code Orange were playing. I went to see them. I'd never heard of them before. And I was like, wow, they're a pretty decent hardcore band. Didn't really think any more of them after that. Checked out a couple of their stuff, like I checked out the album Forever back in 2017, which I thought was okay, nothing special, but I did enjoy listening to it. And then when their new album dropped in 2020, Underneath, it dropped in March of this year, I listened to it and I was like, holy fuck, this transcends so many boundaries, so many different genres and subgenres that it was just... At first, I thought it was just a car crash, but do you know with a car crash, you can't look away because it's so visceral and so in your face? That is what the new Code Orange album was for me. And in all honesty, it did take me a couple of listens because it is a hard listen at first. It really is. There's so many components thrown in there. There's elements of like industrial metal, hardcore, screamo, new metal. There's loads just thrown together and mashed together. And after a while, I would listen to this album on the regular. It's so interesting. Interesting is probably the best word to describe it as actually. Even if you don't like the songs, you don't like the band, you need to just listen to this record to take it apart piece by piece and just be kind of blown away by how weird it is. It's an absolute journey. It really, really is. From start to finish, it takes you on an absolutely visceral journey. And anyway, this is a band who, they released their album in March, and pretty much as soon as the album was released, the world got put into lockdown due to COVID-19. It ruined all of their plans for the touring cycle for this album. And they were probably actually the first band that pioneered this whole live streaming in 2020 kind of thing. They did a live stream of their album launch show back in March. They played a huge empty venue and live streamed it, which was sick. They've done some live streams since. But the one that I picked to feature on their channel today was their latest live stream that was called Back Inside the Glass, that aired on Halloween. Why was it the best? I just love the production on it. I really, really do. I think this album is, as I said, proper fucking weird. If you're into stuff like Tala and Knocked Loose and Vane, then you need to check these guys out. But I just thought the kind of bombastic nature of this album and just how out there it actually was captured perfectly in the production of this particular live stream, and you'll see exactly what I mean with the setup they use when we watch the video in just a second. Like I said, if you do enjoy this, what you're hearing today, go and check out that album, because it's one of my personal favourite records of the year. It took me a while to get to enjoy it at first, but once you sink your teeth into it, there are so many different elements to listen to that every time you listen to that record underneath, you'll hear something new, and it is really, really cool to just kind of be like, wow, I missed that on the previous listen. So without further ado, we're going to check out a track called In Fear, which was taken from underneath, and it's taken from the live stream Back Inside the Glass. Enjoy, guys. This is track number 3 on the actual record, and it comes straight after a track called Swallowing the Rabbit Hole that is ferocious as fuck. It really, really fucking is. I mean, this track is, you'll see exactly what I mean in a minute, it's brutal. It really fucking is. I get proper Crow vibes from this particular bit, the way he was like kneeling there and the cityscape in the background. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna turn it up because this is an absolute banger. Whoa. I just love how experimental this record is. Oh. It's, yeah, completely different to their previous stuff. And I reckon that's probably why I enjoy it a lot more. I'm a huge fan of industrial music. So to hear those like really, really cool use of samples and electronics in their music is definitely the reason why I gel with this band now. I just kind of love like the Matrix-esque aesthetic with like the greens and the blues and the checkered grid. The coding that kind of comes on the screen every so often. Their music is literally what a dying computer sounds like, so it only makes sense that the facade for this live stream mimics the inside of a computer, really. Oh. It also juxtaposed perfectly the band's previous live stream, which was kind of like an acoustic, semi-acoustic session they did called Under the Skin, or Underneath the Skin I think it was called. To go from that kind of like cool MTV style setup to this weird as fuck, crazy, no holds barred aggression fest was a really cool transition to see, actually. Do you know what else I love? It's not overly polished. Oh, a lot of the previous live streams and live albums we've discussed have been produced amazingly to sound huge. This still sounds like if you went to see like a hardcore band or a beatdown band live in concert. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. Or you can hear maybe like a twang of a guitar that's not meant to be there, or just a bit of distortion that overrings. And it really just mimics that live DIY atmosphere that we know and love. I'm just going to stop talking and let you enjoy the rest of it. It's fucking great. Oh, here we go. Absolutely amazing. Just, I keep saying weird. It is weird. For a band that have been just a run-of-the-mill hardcore band for years and years and years, for them to release one of the most experimental and just kind of out there albums of the past 5 to 10 years was amazing to see. And in all honesty, it has got me hooked on these guys, and I cannot wait to see what comes from Code Orange next. Like I said, they are probably the pioneers of the live stream in 2020. They've done so many now. And in all honesty, if kind of COVID goes through 2021, like Q1 and Q2, going even into like Q3 of 2021, I really hope that these guys keep putting out live streams to keep us entertained, because they have got some really, really cool ideas that flow all throughout this underneath album cycle that we've seen this year. And you just can't predict what's going to come next with these guys. They're just that out there. Absolutely love it. Here we go then, in at number 1 in our top live streams and live albums of 2020, we are featuring one of my all-time favourite bands. A band that I had the pleasure of seeing and interviewing back on their UK tour in 2019, and a band who, in my eyes, can do no wrong. They released their first ever live album this year, and boy, oh boy, is it amazing. I watched the live stream for this as well that came a few days before the record dropped, and trust me, seeing it live is so much better than hearing it, because they do the full package, the full live show, and it is just something on a different plane to behold. It is a band you need to see live. It is a band you need to have in your lives, and that band is Ice Nine Kills. Now, when I'm not listening to music and when I'm not working for an escape room company, I am a huge horror fan and horror nerd. I probably watch a horror movie every day, every other day. And this band, because obviously that is what they're all about, they sing about horror movies, horror literature, horror culture, all that kind of stuff. That is probably why this band spoke to me on so many levels. I got to see them, like I said, live last year, but I saw them in a very tiny venue. I saw them at Manchester Academy 3 in Manchester, that holds about, probably about 500, 600 people. And even in such a small venue, they managed to put on such a huge show. So to see them on a live stream doing a huge arena-worthy live spectacle in their hometown of Massachusetts was absolutely incredible. Now, the live stream that they actually did was on the 29th and 30th of October, which was called The Silver Stream, after their latest album, The Silver Scream. And then they released the full live album on physical CD, vinyl and digital as well, which was called I Heard They Kill Live, and I believe that came out at the start of December, because that's when my copy arrived. And it's got one of the sickest album artworks you can ever see. I'm actually going to throw it over here right now. It's got like loads of cool like nods to horror movies and just horror icons on there. It looks sick in my collection. It really, really does. We're going to be checking out the track Stabbing in the Dark from this live album and live stream. and you will see exactly why it has got to the #1 position. I'm not even going to say anything else. I'm just going to play this for you. Enjoy, take a sit back, and just embrace Ice 9 Kills. This is Ice 9 Kills with Stabbing in the Dark. Tell you what, that's actually quite a fucking good lineup there. Fit for a King and Light the Torch as support. I wish we'd had that on the UK tour last year.
Calculated silence, captivated by the violence I'll replay from 15 years ago today. An evil evolution.
The mixing and mastering of this live record is phenomenal as well. It sounds absolutely huge. Honestly, you could probably think that it was a studio recording, like how well it's been recorded. You know what as well, they are heavy on record, but this live album, and you know what, it was the same when I saw them live myself, they sound so much heavier live. It's just unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. My literal only gripe with this live album is, sure, I got to see the stream when it was released, but when the live CD came, there was no DVD with it. They've not released it as a DVD, which is truly shocking in my opinion. Because, like I said, it's one thing listening to it live, you need to watch it as well. Because this crowd goes fucking nuts for them in their hometown. I like as well that it's not smoothly shot. It's very shaky, the camera work, very frantic, but it fits their musical style perfectly. I really hope I get the opportunity to see him in a large venue in 2021, and that they bring that full production over to the UK with them, because that backdrop that they use with like the claw of Freddy Krueger and just like all the cool imagery that they use on stage is really, really cool. It's really cool to look at, and I probably spend more time looking at that with the band, to be honest. I tell you what as well, they are tight as fuck live. One of the tightest bands I've actually seen live, and I've seen hundreds of bands over the years, probably thousands actually, obviously being a promoter myself. But I couldn't fault them when I saw them live, and same with this performance as well. They are on point, man, they really, really are. I love what they did there with the blood effect on screen. Incredible, absolutely incredible. That was Ice Nine Kills with their track Stabbing in the Dark, taken from the live album I Heard They Kill Live. And seriously, if this band tour in 2021, get down to your local gig and go and see them. I'm hoping to see them at Slam Dunk next year. Actually, I don't even know if they've been moved to Slam. They were meant to play Slam Dunk this year, and obviously it got cancelled due to COVID. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that they've been rescheduled for next year's event, because I would love to go and see them live again. Hands down, one of the best live bands that I've ever seen, along with Northlane that we mentioned earlier. They're both up there. They definitely are both up there. But yeah, what I loved about that, the production of the whole thing, not just the stage production, but how incredibly it translated to audio. It's been done in a way where you probably think that it was recorded in an actual professional studio. It's been that well done, and unlike a lot of the live streams that we featured, the video, the videography and the way it's been shot really translates well to the music. It's not smooth, it's not clean cut, it gives you that proper gig experience, like you're being jostled around in the pit and thrown about, and I absolutely love that. I absolutely love it. I remember we watched it with my missus, and she gets motion sick, so she couldn't watch it, but yeah, there's a reason why this is the #1 live album and live stream of 2020, so go and pick up a copy and enjoy the rest of it for yourselves. Alright, there you have it. That is SeddzSayz top 5 live streams and live albums of 2020. Obviously, that is all my personal opinion. There have been loads of really good live streams and live albums throughout this year that didn't make the list, and loads that I didn't actually get around to seeing. One in particular that I would have loved to have watched was the Behemoth live stream earlier this year, but unfortunately I was busy on that date and missed that one. And you know what, I have no doubt in my mind, if I would have seen that one, given the reviews that came from it, it probably would have made this top 5. So it just really goes to show that this is all personal preference, and obviously there is stuff that I've missed, and there are stuff that you'll love that I hate, and I love that you hate. That's just the way the world works, I'm afraid. So just a recap on those top 5 for this list. And at number 5, we had Puscifer with Existential Reckoning live at Arcasanti. At number 4, we had Northlane with Live at the Roundhouse. Number 3 went to Katatonia with Dead Air. Number 2 was Code Orange with Back Inside the Glass. And in that number 1 spot, with the incredible live album, it was Ice Nine Kills with I Heard They Kill Live. Go and check out all of those live streams and live albums. The vast majority of them, there are either clips on YouTube or the full thing over on YouTube, so I would thoroughly recommend, once this video is finished, heading over to YouTube and checking them out, or going over to Spotify and just listening to the live albums, like the Ice Nine Kills one, the Northlane one, and the Katatonia one. That will do it for this episode of SeddzSayz. I will link all of the bands down below. I'll put all their social media down there so you can check them out for yourselves. And if you did enjoy this episode of SeddzSayz, please do hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with everything SeddzSayz related. Now, what's going to be coming next from the channel? What video are we going to do next? We are going to do our top 5 EPs of 2020 before we finish on our top 20 albums of the year later this week. So keep your eyes peeled for those videos coming very, very soon. And in the meantime, have a good evening, stay safe, and keep on chugging.